The news will sometimes give us a free square in fantasy football. A lot of times this is due to injury, but also sometimes it's just switch ups with offenses around the league. It just happens. It's part of the game. But we got one today, and for Deon Jackson and Evan Hall, as some news came out. But before we dig into the stats, hit that subscribe button right now. Stop missing out because we're doing deep dives on these players all year long. We're looking at the advanced metrics, we're looking at the trends, and we're trying to put together a puzzle here. And after you get this info, you're going to be better set to making your decisions. And we're going to be doing this every single day so you can pick the players you want. Hit that button, stop missing out. But the news is here. Colts downgraded Zach Moss to doubtful. More than likely, he is not playing. More than likely, he is not going to be out there. If he is, his touch count might be limited. So that's something you want to pay attention to, something you want to look at. So who is going to be stepping up? Looks like it's probably going to be Deon Jackson and Evan Hall. Those two guys are going to get some opportunity this week. Evan Hall is a good prospect. He's a prospect you want to pay attention to. Good athletic profile, can be used in the passing game. Deon Jackson, though, he is the incumbent veteran, though. Blew up last year in some games when he got the opportunity because Jonathan Taylor was out. Now he's out again. Now he's going to get more opportunity. Looks like we have some potential here with Deon Jackson. Is he a guy you always want to bet on? No. But when you think a running back's going to get some touches, you kind of want to lean in on that. So there's a good chance he gets some opportunity this week. Last year, 28 fantasy points against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They play the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. That's a good indicator. That's some good things. Also, 13.1 the week prior, and I think that's a Thursday night game against Denver. 12.6 against Minnesota. 17 fantasy points to finish out the year against Houston. So this guy can be productive when he's on the field. One of the reasons why, very athletic. 4.47 40-yard dash. Has the size to get it done. 91st percentile size adjusted speed score. So when he hits the whole season second level, he's good to go. Not the greatest running back in the league. Not the next Jonathan Taylor or anything. But when he's given an opportunity, he's good enough to get the job done. And then some, as we've seen historically from last year. And in looking at this game script, we got 46 over under. The Colts are at home, which is a good thing. Jacksonville's traveling. The thing about this is if the turnovers get a little bit outrageous due to the rookie blues with Anthony Richardson, it just happens. It's part of the game. This could get out of hand with Jacksonville. The Colts could be playing from behind. That might limit the rushing opportunities. Anthony Richardson might take some of the rushing opportunities away. That's something you want to look at. They may use Evan Hall more than you like. It might be a hard backfield to predict. However, on top of that, Deon Jackson's the incumbent. Deon Jackson is proven to be able to give you spot production. He's proven to help this team when they needed him. He has really earned his role, so he should be getting enough opportunity to do some things. You need him because you need touches. That is why you're picking him up. You drafted 0 RB, you're low on running backs, you don't feel good about your running backs, you feel like this is a free square, you're going to pick them up and throw them in. If you got some decent running backs on your roster, more than likely, you're not going to go to them. More than likely, you're not going to be chasing them off the waiver wire unless you're in a deeper league. Most redraft teams right now, your basic 12-man leagues, it's going to be hard to fit him into your starting lineup because you got a lot of good running backs. You got some backs there you drafted in the middle rounds. That, honestly, they're in good matchups as well. They're paid to get touches, and it's hard to make that decision right now because Deon Jackson, the touch count, it's up in the air. You don't know what you're going to get, but it could be grandioso. He's a wild card. He's a free square, and if you want to throw him in a flex, if you're down some positions, you got some injuries, that might be the play to make. It really depends. However, in DFS, free square that you can really build around, that's where we really like him at. He could really help you in tournaments, but remember, a lot of people are going to be throwing him in lineups as well. But you don't need him because you're good at running back. I'm set. I'm set at running back. I don't need to throw any fab money at this. I don't need to pick him up. I don't need to drop anybody. I can just roll with my upside guys and just keep it moving. I do not care. I'm going to keep rolling with what I got. Too much risk to do the game script this week, and you're worried about that. Plus, you're good at running back. I mean, seriously, it's week 1, so most of your starters are intact. There's a few of them down, but still. You're also worried about Evan Hall because he's no slouch of a prospect. Catches the ball well out of the backfield, has some size to him, has decent athleticism, has some upside, productive at Northwestern. We're talking about him. He's a good prospect. Probably over the course of time, probably for the long game, you probably want more Evan Hall. Probably over the course of time. For right now, you may want more Deon Jackson. That's the thing about this. Who you picking up and what you need and what you want. Long term, you probably want Evan Hall. You really want to watch him. Short term, you probably want Deon Jackson. That's probably the play to make. Start sit wise, there are plenty of other players that you can probably start over these two. That's the thing. You got mid-round wide receivers. You got some running backs that you drafted pretty high that may not be in the greatest matchup, but he's not in the greatest matchup either due to game script. This game script could get out of hand, but it could be tighter than expected too, and they maybe need him. They might be giving him some opportunities as well if they want to slow down the game script at the start to really get Anthony Richardson dialed in there, allow him to transition, allow him to learn the game. But as we think about Deon Jackson here, and you need a running back, the one thing we can think about is he's going to get some touches. He's going to get some touches. So you're throwing him in there, and you're hoping the touches get you some fantasy points. And when you want running backs, you want running backs with touches, and he's going to get you some touches. Game script might not be good for him this week. It may not be because Jacksonville can move the ball. They're going to move it even better this year. They got Calvin Ridley. Colts might be playing from behind. That's going to be a thing. But it could be a nasty game. It could be slower than expected. Colts might want to keep things slow. They may want to run it out. And you might get a baseline of production. If you're looking for like a baseline production of 8 to 12 points, you may want Deon Jackson. And you want that because it's on the cheap. You want that because you're hurt at running back. You're stacked at wide receiver. But if you're stacked at wide receiver, you can move things around for your flex. So it's really how your roster is constructed, whether you want him or not. I would not be blowing my wad for him or anything like that. But honestly, he could give you a string of games too as well. If he comes out hot with a couple big carries, they're going to keep him on the field. So really, he's a lottery ticket. Look at him as a lottery ticket, stashed on the back end of your roster. If you got somebody hurt or you got a lottery ticket you don't like that much and you want a running back lottery ticket that you kind of like, maybe that's a go-to for you. Honestly, he is a little bit risky, but sometimes you got to take those risks depending on how hurting you are on your fantasy team. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Catch you in the next video.